Welcome to the Kentucky X-Files, Season 2, with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you never miss an episode. Now, on to our show.
Coming towards me, just crouched down. For me, at first, I thought it was a distant voice.
I thought it was a bear. You can tell the difference between like a small or spindly leg creature and something with a larger foot. And it was big, whatever it was. It ran straight down at us and just stopped. It was pitch black. Couldn't see it.
And most of these witnesses that have come close to these things could have been killed.
It was beating on the side of the house. I didn't get the side of the house as it went by.
Now, when it stood up, that's when I knew it was gone.
Right, like I needed someone to have pure faith in a higher power at that moment, and nobody fucking did.
Welcome back, guys, to your Kentucky X-Files.
Hoo-ah! It was different. It wasn't. Oh, thank you. It's nothing. We're having way too much fun with this.
Yeah, but
They should never give us an actual podcast setup. I just feel like we're like, you know what I mean? We're just totally immature.
Yeah, we're very immature. Yeah,
So we've got a guy who's been hitting us up on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Named Glen, right? And Glen has been filming the sky and been picking up some crazy shit. And we're actually set up here tonight out at my farm. Unfortunately, Josh is not with us. He's got family stuff going on, so he's going to be out for probably, I know last episode he was out in this one, and then we'll see what's going on the next ones and see when he's going to be back in. If we have to, we'll call him again. You know, he's not getting away that easy. So anyway, I'd like to give Glenn a call and get him in here just so we kind of talk, and see what he's seeing and what he's been experiencing. And like I said, we're out here too. We're looking at the sky, and it's a beautiful, clear, kind of chilly Kentucky night.
I love it. I love these nights.
Can you see all these stars right now, Ty?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. I can't see that. Since I'm more in the city, I don't see this many stars, but I get a decent amount.
Yeah. Out here, it's like we've got a little fire going, just a crackling in the background here, and we've got, our cold brews sitting here, and we're enjoying it, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so glad we did this. This is really good for the soul, and I'm not even kidding right now. There's nothing to describe it to you. You guys out there, go outside, man. Seriously, go outside at night and look at the damn stars and ask your cosmic questions, because that's what I do.
But yeah, before we give our guests a call, I know we kind of, we don't say this often, but if you guys know anybody or yourself has an encounter or anything, or if you just want to jump in and throw your theories out of what
absolutely,
what any of the topics that we've talked about on the show you want to talk about, you can send them to our email at encounters@kyxfiles.com.
Yep.
You can be a phone-in guest, or you can just just email us.
Yeah, just email us.
Yeah, that
we'll read your emails.
Yeah, we always read emails. And like and share.
Yeah,
rate the show.
That's something I've been forgetting is to, if you're listening to this, whatever platform you're on, if there's a way for you to rate it.
Yeah,
rate it.
It helps out a lot. We've had like a big surge in downloads and people listening, and we can't appreciate we appreciate it enough. Sorry, I got tongue tied there. But yeah, we want to just keep pushing this to the moon. So if you can do that,
Absolutely.
just rate the show wherever you're listening to this. Probably not YouTube because they don't like us. But
we're in timeout.
I feel like we're in forever timeout on YouTube.
They're spanking our heinies right now because we're naughty boys, and we don't hold back. I mean, we say what we feel, right? I mean,
yeah,
we enjoy it. So hopefully you guys out there do too, and whatever, I mean, they can do what they got to do, and it's their platform. They make the rules over there, but
no ill feelings. It's just how they want to do things. If that's
you
how they
guys
want to do it.
Out there are showing us every single episode with all the downloads that you guys want to hear what's next for the old KYX files. So you know what? We appreciate you. We love you. And that's not just the beers talking.
Yeah.
We mean it.
Yeah, we mean it.
We mean it.
Yeah. But yeah, I know we'll probably say this at the end, but we said it on the last episode. We're gonna start doing this where if you're a musician or musicians, send us some music. We'll play it on the end of this.
Absolutely.
Our episodes every week. So if you have anything, send it to us. The same email, encounters@kyxfiles.com. Denny almost got hit by a flaming branch. That's a cool band name. If you guys need a name for your band, Flaming Branch. So yeah, I'm here to help.
That was a very, very smooth. Very smooth transition there. I like that. That's a band name? I promise. I promise. Next time, I'll make sure I cut up all the firewood. That's my fault. I've had to get up like 9 times to fix our firewood because I have a bunch of cedar and it smells amazing when you burn it. And like a lazy piece of shit, I literally didn't cut it up and it's just leaning here. But to be fair, my chainsaw's got a little boo-boo. The little throttle link is popped off, and I have to take it apart to fix it, and I haven't.
But it's a steel. It'll Once you get that going, it's going to run like
steel.
Yeah, run like steel.
Like a skull dog.
Like a skull dog.
All right, so you wanna give Glenn a call and see what he's seeing out there?
Heck yes, I know. I know. Freaking the listeners want to.
Yeah, they're probably like. Dude, get to the call, Jesus.
God, shut up.
All right, here we go. Let's call him.
Hello.
Hey, is this Glenn?
This is Glenn.
Hey, Glenn, this is Denny and Tyler with the Kentucky X-Files.
Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Sorry, I want to apologize to you for having to wait for us. Every possible technical difficulty you can imagine under the sun has happened to us. We are not great at upgrades, and we just got an upgrade to our whole setup. And I'm really sorry, buddy.
It's all good. I understand how it goes. I've been a musician doing recording and stuff for years, so it's a lot of hurry up and wait kind of stuff.
Dude, you know what we were talking about recently? Now I didn't know you were a musician. That's awesome. We've been actually adding it to the end of the show that we wanted to get people to submit music that we can use for the outro of our shows and try to bring some more attention to the music that the folks are out there making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you got anything, man, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I do. I've got quite a bit. I was professional for 38 years.
Wow.
Was a hired gun studio musician, tour guy out in Hollywood for a few years, and then in Memphis for a few years.
No kidding.
Yeah, traveled all over, played every style of music.
Wow.
So I got a lot of gigs.
That's awesome. That's that's really impressive, man. I mean, I'm myself, I can't say professional. I was a musician for, half of my life and played a lot of local shows and things like that, but nothing to that caliber. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really, I got bit by the bug really young, like 5, 6 years old. And so, I always knew it's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Are you still pretty active?
So, yeah.
You still playing?
Not. I don't really do gigs anymore. Occasionally, I'll do a benefit or something.
Yeah.
But I do have a studio here at the house, and I do a lot of. Like I just last night recorded a intro for my podcast I'm going to start, where I'm actually talking to musicians, telling road stories, and
that's awesome.
Playing a little bit. And, yeah,
it'd be great to know, more about that, so we could help you promote it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I toured all over the world and lived on an island in the Caribbean for a while. And
wow.
So music kind of took me all over, and I was kind of one of those people that was always in the right place at the right time.
That's awesome,
and,
man.
So I got to work a lot.
We've noticed. I know we've been talking back and forth about some of the like interesting videos that you've sent over and pictures. It seems a lot of us musicians, for some reason, have a strange fascination with the unknown. Also.
Yeah, it's true. I know I've played with hundreds of musicians, world caliber guys, and I still keep in touch with them. And a few of them, I've talked to recently about that. Yeah, I think it's just something about that creative brain.
I know we got an email from a fan maybe about 1 or 2 weeks ago, I think, that said that musicians were very open to the unexplained and the unknown. Like we already open ourselves up creatively so much that we're pretty much we're like recepting these things to,
it's true, yeah.
into our lives.
You have to kind of be like, you're like a big antenna for the cosmic consciousness. If you want those songs to come in, and how they just sometimes magically appear, and or in a dream, sometimes I'll dream a whole song. Or
I've done that. I've literally done that. I have this little project I've been working on, just kind of like on the side, and all of the music on our show is for that project. But it kind of lended itself to the like the atmosphere of the stuff we talk about. So I just kind of stick it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
It is. I'll go to sleep, and I'm like halfway in between awake and asleep, like that little that twilight of in between, and I will.
That's a great time to write
a song, and I'll have to the next day. I'll have to get to the computer and start working, start programming my metronomes, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. I right about the same time that I had my first UFO ET experience. I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
That's when I got interested. I had a neighbor that lived 2 doors down that had a drum set, and that's when I got into music. Was the same time that those experiences were happening.
What was? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what was the experience?
Yeah, I lived in Lexington, Kentucky, and I was. I was about 4 or 5. We moved to Lexington, and at night, more than once, I would have a gray show up at my window at night and take me in, and abduct me.
Really?
And I wouldn't remember anything except waking up like outside in the front yard, and always with one of my little neighbor friends too. Like she was there also.
Holy
We're like
shit.
5 years old, standing out in our pajamas, you know, in the middle of the night. And back then we didn't lock our doors really. So I would just come back in and try to tell my parents, and you know, they just brushed it off as having nightmares or whatever. But
right,
yeah, pretty scary for a kid. But I didn't know what was happening until years later when I saw that movie. It came out, and I went to the theater to see it. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I was like, oh. I started having all these memories and understanding, like, oh, that's what was going on, because I didn't know anything about
God, I had a bit of crazy, surreal experience right there to see that and connect the two.
Yeah, it was like having a flashback or something. Just and then it wasn't long after that when I was in Cub Scouts and we were camping out. This Camp Daniel Boone down by the Kentucky River.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the night, I woke up and got out of my tent and saw some other kids out of their tent looking up. And I looked up, and there was like probably a 30 to 50 foot round saucer with lights flashing around the edges, landing right in the field where we were camping. And when it got to be about 30 feet from the ground, we all started walking towards it, and this mist came out of it, like this white mist came out and covered us all. And that was the last thing I remember until the next day. And I was like, hey guys, do you remember? And they're like, yes, we do.
No kidding.
Like, could you elaborate? Like, what was you feel? Like, do you remember any type of feeling that you were having that night?
No, I don't. It wasn't until years later when I really started to be able to, like, I kind of trained I definitely trained my mind through martial arts and yoga, to where I could actually either resist being put under or come out of being put under. You know, I could actually consciously interact and remember what was happening.
Wow.
But that wasn't until years later.
No kidding.
Do you feel like any of these encounters, like, do you feel like they had, like, malevolent intent, or was they more, like, do you feel like they were more curious in nature?
Well, when I was a kid, you know, 5, 6 years old, it felt malevolent.
I get that.
It just felt really scary, and I was always scared when they showed up at my window.
Yeah.
And I tried to resist. But years later, in the early 90s, when I came off the road, anytime I would come off the road, I would come back to Kentucky, and I like to camp, like bushcraft, that kind of stuff. So I'd go out. This is before Survivor, man, but I'd go out and like solo camp for a week and just survive off what I could catch or forage. And I started going to this one cave that's about 5 miles from here. It's on a Native American trail called the Warrior's Path, which runs all the way from Florida up to the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And it's this little side offshoot of this creek, and it's a camp a cave where Daniel Boone used to have a camp back when he was exploring Kentucky. And it's actually had a few Bigfoot experiences there.
Oh wow!
On this property and at this cave. But I would go to this cave once a month. I should preface this. I'm an ordained minister. I've studied all the world religions, alive and dead.
Yeah.
And I really got into shamanism because I noticed when I was drumming, physiological changes would happen sometimes. Like I'd maybe feel like I was going into a trance, or felt like I was leaving my body. So I started doing research into that and found out about shamanism and how they use drumming techniques. And then that kind of fit in with the yoga I was studying, Kundalini and pranayama.
Yeah.
So I would go to this cave once a month on a full moon and camp and do some drumming, build a fire, meditate, and had quite a few experiences, I guess what you would call paranormal experiences.
Right.
But one of those experiences was I had been meditating and had gone into a trance, and I came out of the trance and I was laying on my back about 4 feet off the ground, and there was probably a 7 foot praying mantis looking dude standing over me.
Holy shit.
And 3 kind of tall grays standing behind him. And they all looked surprised that I woke up. Like, I could tell they were like, whoa.
Like you caught them off guard?
Yeah. And
that can't be easy to do.
Yeah. They were surprised. And I couldn't move anything except my eyes. And I could see that the mantis guy had his hands doing something around my torso area. So I just thought in my mind, what are you doing to me? And then he answered me telepathically. We're helping you to evolve. And then I answered back, just thought it,
Yeah.
Well, if it's positive, then go ahead. And then the next thing I know, I was back out again. And, of course, when I came to, they were gone. But that was the last, well, okay, so a few days later, I wake up at my house, and there's like an open sore on my leg, like a wound about the size of a dime.
Yeah.
And there's something in it. I can feel something hard inside. Well, it heals up, and still I can feel something hard inside there. And occasionally, like I said, I would go once a month to this cave, full moon. And occasionally when I would come back, it would be red and irritated. And then a few months later, I woke up and it was red and irritated, but the hard thing wasn't in there anymore. It felt like about the size of a BB or a little larger.
Yeah.
And now I have a permanent scoop mark in that spot, and like a permanent hypodermic looking hole right next to it that won't go away. And that was in 1993.
No shit. So you say it's like a scoop mark. Like, how big are we talking? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture. About the size of, let's see, what does it compare to? About the size of a BB. Yeah.
Wow.
It looks like something's been taken out of my leg.
What do you, I mean, if you had to guess, I mean, what would you I mean, what would your speculate? You had to have speculated on this. Like, what the hell did you do?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I didn't hear
Oh, no.
you.
I meant if you had to have speculated about this. So, what the hell could they have been doing? You know what I mean? What did they do?
Well,
or what do you think they did? I should say.
Well, they said they were helping me to evolve, which is, kind of like since those experiences, I've become a more, even though I was already spiritual person, I've become more spiritual.
Yeah.
More empathetic. I think they may have picked me because I was a creative person. I was always a spiritual person. I mean, by the time I was like third grade, I was studying Buddhism and Taoism, and and I always been had this real sense, like a kind of like justice, like everybody should, like injustice really drove me crazy,
Right.
And I don't know. It's hard to say, really. I think about it a lot. But I've since then I've realized, like they showed me, like there were times in those cave experiences where I would leave my body and I would remember traveling with these beings. And I remember they would show me things, kind of tell me a few things as far as like how everybody is, we're all made up of energy and we're connected to everything in the universe, like a giant spider web of energy. And,
right.
They showed me how important taking care of our environment is, especially the water. And it affected me so much that actually the next CD I made after that, like the theme running through it all was water, and how we can, our bodies are mostly water,
right? Yeah.
And I've kind of developed a little bit of ESP and a little bit of, like, I can see kind of 10 to 20 years down the road what's going to happen with some things. And just the whole, showed me some things that back in the 90s about space and time and that have only been recently discovered to be facts, but these are things that they showed me back then.
All right.
Like the nature of time.
That's always been a question. Like, me personally, I saw an interesting light years ago in the sky that I couldn't explain, but I've never had any kind of experience with these beings. I've always wondered, that as we advance along our natural path as humans and we learn, more and more and we progress, what kind of things are they going to, it's like they're going to have to up their message a little bit as we go forward.
Yeah.
Because, 20, 30 years ago, getting a message like, hey, you know what, we're all made of energy and we're all connected, back then would have been, that's profound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we go forward, especially as physics has caught up to that.
Exactly,
and physics is saying that, yes, we are all connected and we are all energy. Well, now they're, you know,
it's like the paranormal becomes normal.
Exactly. And I've said this on several episodes now, that we have to stop looking at some of these things as if it's science fiction and start accepting that this is science fact. You know, that
exactly, yeah.
If aliens would come right now, if they would come right now to the modern person who's interested in these subjects, and they'd take them and they'd say, we are all connected and we are all made of energy, that person's going to be like, well, you know, shit. We have physics now.
we have books.
They're going to have to up.
Have you heard of the internet?
You know, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Is if they're able to scale their message with our progress, that means that they're keeping an eye on what's going on.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
Well, another thing too is that I feel like they're probably trying to give a message, but then again, that I feel like that this happens like to. I feel like rare people. Like, I feel like there has to be something about that person.
You're not an Rh negative blood type, are you?
No, I'm A positive.
That would have been a crazy coincidence, because we've heard a lot about that lately.
But I was actually through my practice of shamanism and meditation. I didn't realize it, but I was practicing what they now call the what is it? CE5 protocols. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Let's see, what's his name? Dr. Stephen Greer. He's advised the last six presidents. But yeah, they're doing this thing where they're like going out and meditating and basically just trying to communicate. And these crafts show up and they fly around them, and they've got all these videos of it happen.
You know, I didn't know that was the name of it, but yes, I actually have checked into this. This shit is fascinating. Because
and I was doing this back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they were. Plus, I was in a cave, which historically has been a place where people have these kind of experiences.
Yeah.
Mystical experiences, what have you. And, you know, you're blocking off a lot of EMFs, you're underground.
Right.
And I was actively trying to communicate with the other, you know, whatever, in my mind, it was my creator, the universal consciousness. And what I met was a variety of entities, and had a few journeys out into space and into other dimensions, and was shown different things. Like, for instance, flying out through space, and I'm guessing I'm in a craft. I'm not sure. I left my body, I know for sure.
Yeah.
Because a friend that was with me said he saw me levitate about a foot off the ground and then fall back onto my back, and then I was just unresponsive for a couple of hours.
Holy shit.
So I guess I left my body.
Yeah.
And going through space, and I could hear each of the planets as it rotated making a sound. You know, kind of similar to what you would do if you took a glass of water, a crystal glass, and rubbed your finger around the rim. And each one had a different resonance, a different sound. And they were like, yeah, that's the music of the spheres. And you know, that's where your whole music system comes from.
Yeah.
And then I was confused, because for years after that, I did a little research. No, there's no sound in space because space is a vacuum. Well, just recently, in the last 5 years, maybe, they, with the Voyager, I think it was, they found out that, oh yeah, they do make a sound. They produce vibration, which is, you know, makes a sound, and they've actually got recordings of it.
Right. Yeah, and I think I actually checked into that. It wasn't too long ago, where it was the frequencies each planet produces is pretty fascinating. You can actually go on YouTube and listen to them. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Because I was just blown away that, like, something that you know, that I'd been told by these entities, you know. And another thing they showed me was like the nature of time. we as humans tend to think of time as linear, you know?
Yeah. A byproduct of gravity.
Right. They showed me how time was more like a spiral inside of like a funnel, if you could imagine that.
Yeah,
so where
I
like
can get behind
as you're at the top, on the outside, time goes kind of slow going around.
Yeah.
And it speeds up as the closer you get to the bottom.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like the marble going down the.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Down the spiral, like how it goes fast once it gets to
faster
closer.
and faster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see
exactly.
that. I mean, I think I don't know how many episodes back it was. We were talking about how when you think of a planet floating in space, that you have to almost think of it as if it's being suspended by a soft net, and where it deforms the net and sinks is actually time.
Yeah.
And how it warps time, and you know, it is interesting that we perceive time in a way. We almost grow up thinking that time is this solid thing. It's a staple. It's death and taxes and time, and those, you know what I mean? We never think of time as being a little bit more fluid. It's actually not quite a nice and neat system. It's I like to think of it more like chemistry. It's a lot sloppier, you know.
Yeah, more fluid, not so static.
I guess we, like, over the years we've funneled it into like what we see it today. We try to like put our, you know, just like anything else. Like I've said, we're a very egocentric creature, human beings. So it's like we have to label everything and put it in a line, you know. And time is just so much bigger than us.
And like, I mean, they were out there again tonight, hovering over the forest, and I got a little bit of video, but they wanted to stay behind the trees. But yeah, I mean, it's so egotistical for us to think that we're the only creations in this, you know, in this existence. Because
do you think that when they come here and do you think it's actually them, or do you think it's like a drone or some kind of, I don't know, maybe something artificial that they've sent?
Well, this particular craft, and it's really strange looking, especially. I've yet to get the close-up video that I see, because a lot of times, like the last time I'm looking at it, and it's this huge sphere, and it looks like it's alive, like it's got, it's hard to describe. Looks like almost like there's energy, like you know, that like a Tesla kind of Tesla energy, moving all around the outside of it, and it'll be just like fire looking, and then it'll change to blue and green and red, and so it kind of looks organic, but then it's got all that light to it.
Right.
And then there's been more than one. Sometimes there's three. One is more like a circle with a dark cube in it, like a sphere with a dark cube in it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Lieutenant Ryan Graves, Air Force pilot, that's what he saw. And he's talked about that many times in the last few months. But one night, I'm about 30 minutes from a military base where it's the last stockpile of chemical weapons in the United States.
Right.
And between me and there is mostly forest, and then it gets into some like residential, but probably 10 miles, 15 miles of forest when I look at my back. And it just hovers there in the same spot. It'll move around. I mean, it comes in from a distance, it'll stay there, hover for about an hour, and then it'll move back off the way it came. And sometimes when I'm watching it, there'll be helicopters flying like close by, and
what do you think?
I can be here all day during the day and never hear one helicopter.
Do you think
they're
trying to observe it or what?
That's what it looks like to me. So I'm watching one night, 3 or 4 helicopters, and they're staying a safe distance from it, but about the same altitude, sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little higher. And they'll give it a wide berth, and maybe 3 or 4 of them will check it out. And then this one night I'm watching, and a larger helicopter, like one of those big military helicopters, is flying over towards it, and it gets closer than any other copter I've seen. Well, a laser beam shoots out of this thing and hits the helicopter.
Holy shit.
And it loses power and starts to fall for about a second, 2 seconds, and then it regained its stability and flew off quickly.
Oh, I imagine so. I imagine they are like, holy shit, okay.
They got lasers.
And then one night I was watching it. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just making a joke. Like, they got lasers, we got to go. Yeah. So we can't fuck with
Yeah, they were out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
One night I was watching, and I think I sent you the video. An orb flew out of it and flew down into my backyard, flew around my backyard, and flew up to the window of the second story where I had my video camera. And I was getting ready to set it on a tripod to get the UFO, but before I could do that, the orb flew out. So I've got it all on video.
Yeah.
It flies right up to the window where I'm at, and there's a power line there. And the power line starts sparking.
Yeah. I seen that video. Yeah. You sent it to
the flies off, and the power line continues to spark for a minute. But yeah, that was another weird.
Pretty wild.
I hear a lot about these orbs. Do you? And I know you said you had a couple of experiences with Sasquatch. Do you think any of these beings have ever messed with them? Do you think do you think they have any? Because there's a lot of people out there that believe that the Bigfoot and aliens have some type of relationship in some ways.
Yeah, I didn't used to because I had a face-to-face encounter with a Bigfoot at that cave. Literally, I was 3 feet from it.
Oh, dang.
And we'd been, and I'll tell you the story. So we'd go down there once a month to camp, and what I would do for fire, see this cave, you could walk in through the ceiling, and when you got down to the floor, you were in this huge cavern, and it had a creek that ran through it and went out an opening. So you could build a fire there, and the smoke would go out. So it's a great place to camp. So I'd go down there, and to get firewood, I would break these sticks and throw them down into the roof of the cave. So I'm standing out there every time I'd go for about 45 minutes, taking big limbs and smacking them across trees to break them. So I'm actually going, smack, just banging on trees for 45 minutes, doing wood knocks, which I didn't know what a wood knock was. So then I'd go down there and build my fire and cook some food and then do my drumming and meditation and camp out. So it's about, I don't know, maybe midnight or something, and I decide I'm going to come out of the cave and answer the call of nature. So the full moon, all the leaves are down, so I'm just looking around at the forest going, wow, this is beautiful. It's just lit up with a silver light. And just standing there, and I hear this really low growl right behind me. And I felt it in my torso. It was like a... So I turned around, and I'm face to chest with an 8-foot tall Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
I looked up and looked at its head, and the moon was right behind it, so I'm only getting a silhouette. I think it's probably 3 feet wide at least, and could hear it breathing. Mm-hmm. And so I looked up at its face, and then some of this thought came in my head, well, maybe I shouldn't look at it in the eyes. It's an apex predator. Mm-hmm. So I looked down, and as I looked down, I'm like, wow, look at its arms, look at its legs. And I'm just standing there, and I'm thinking, okay. Well, I'm thinking this in my head. I'm like, okay, I'm not a threat to you. I'm just here camping. I'm going to walk back down into the cave by the fire, and it's all good. So I just kind of started walking sideways, still in front of me, 3 feet away. I walked sideways about 10, 12 steps, and then I'm at the place where I can go down to the cave, and I just booked it down in there by the fire. And that was stay awake all night. Just scared.
Yeah, I can understand that, being caught off guard, especially finding something that, like, basically to this part in the story, like you never, like, saw a Bigfoot, you never really thought about Bigfoot.
No.
And
no,
so
never.
Like that's like, I feel like that's the scariest moments, so like those moments where you never seen this type of creature before, and then you stumble across it, and
the scariest.
Yeah, the scariest. So, like,
I'll never forget.
So after that, you, like, it didn't seem like it didn't bother you anymore, like, through the night?
No, it didn't. And I went back there, every full moon for, well, not after that. I'd been going every full moon for probably 9 months or a year. After that, I never camped at the cave again. Mm-hmm. That same property, it's about 500 acres on the top of the mountain, which the cave is down at the bottom of the mountain. But I would camp on top of the mountain where my buddy, who's a musician, high school friend, we built an outdoor stage, and we would, summer nights, we'd get out there and play music and cook out and have friends over. And so we're doing this one night, and we finished jamming, and I had set my tent up in an apple grove about 100 yards from the stage. So I went over there, and I'm camping, and I'm hearing all these coyotes, which is strange because we didn't, up until that point, we didn't have any coyotes in Kentucky. So I was really amazed hearing all these coyotes, like a whole pack. Fell asleep, woke up sometime in the middle of the night to that same low growl right outside the tent, right by my head, mm-hmm. about a foot away from my head. Like I could feel it going through my body, that growl. Just froze me. And it was probably the same guy. He just stood there for maybe 10 seconds and then walked off. And since then, I've been back during the daytime, of course. And I heard an Ohio howl coming out of the cave. Mm-hmm. I was sitting outside the cave drumming, waiting for a couple of my friends, other musicians, to show up. We were going to sit around and play music and catch up. And so they got lost, of course. So I'm waiting for them, and so I'm playing my drum thinking, well, they'll hear the drum and they'll follow it and find me. So I'm playing, and I stop and listen for them, and I don't hear them. I play some more. And then a few minutes later, an Ohio howl sound came out of the cave. And then, like 3 minutes later, from the top of the hill above the cave, was that same growl. And then about that time, my friends were coming up from behind me yelling, "Glen!" Yeah. And that was my last experience there like the cave. But so then I always thought, well, it's some kind of natural creature because I came face to face with it.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, with this UFO that's hovering over the forest every night, and I think I sent you a couple of pictures of what I think may be a portal. Did you see those?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That wasn't visible to the naked eye. It wasn't until after the picture was taken, and then I was like, "What is that?" So zoomed in. So I wouldn't, now I wouldn't be surprised if they do have some kind of interaction. Like, because I've heard stories like at Skinwalker Ranch about something coming out of a portal that looked like a Sasquatch, and there's just so much that we don't even know.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about on the show is that there's a lot of like mysteries around Sasquatch just being what it is, but we don't know what, like, since we don't know what it is, we don't know what it's capable of. Like,
exactly.
So that's like the hardest thing is like when you're doing all this lot of speculation and everybody has their own opinions about how Sasquatch is, but there's still like I know that like the whole portal thing, I've seen a couple that seemed very odd the way that it was. I knew that Denny, he was him and his wife dissected I think it was I can't remember his name, something Carpenter video, and this video was like 12 years old, and people started picking out that there was something that was following him. But when they looked at the film, like the actual, like when they zoomed into where it was on the trail, like there was like this circle around, like you couldn't see it, but you can tell that there was like a shape there, like it was bending. Yeah, there was this disturbance around it, but it was like a perfect circle, and it was weird but they said that as the film keeps going, that being kind of fades away into it. Like you never really saw a physical thing to it, but then after that, you it started to slowly fade away. So yeah, like the portal thing is it's crazy, but that's something that it might be a missing puzzle piece in a lot of these things, is because like it sounds so crazy. It could be true.
I think you may be right, and I didn't even think about this until like got that picture, and then it's in the same. It's like below where the UFO hovers every night. There's all kinds of caves. There's old silver mines. We're you know what the paranormal highway is?
No.
It's between the 37th and 38th parallel. It runs, runs across the country, and in that space, there's been tons of UFO and other paranormal stuff happen, so that earned the name the Paranormal Highway.
Mm-hmm.
So we're right in the middle of that, and I've been right down there in the forest. I've heard I heard 5 Bigfoot howls in a row one night, and I've heard a couple of whoops, and there's actually a goat farm in the same general vicinity. We're surrounded by national forest, Daniel Boone National Forest, but there's a few little farms scattered about. So these people moved in a few years ago, a couple of years back, and they've got a goat farm. Well, that's the area where I heard the howls coming from. So I asked them the other day if they'd ever lost any goats. They're like, yeah, we've lost 4 adults and 2 kids. We don't know what happened to them. And I was thinking, I probably could tell you what happened to them.
Like it like some of like I can't remember. We had a guest message us one time about him losing like I think he said he raised turkeys,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, is there any like help that you can guys like give us? And like we haven't really like went out and anything like searching for Sasquatch or any of that sort, but we have our speculations and our ideas of what it could like, what it had like what how it works. And I
Right.
know Denny had this idea. It's like, especially like you don't really see like get a lot of sightings of them in daylight because we 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 do believe that they're very nocturnal. Like they don't see that well in the daylight.
Yeah, I do
So
too, and I believe they hang out and live in a lot of the caves around here.
yeah, because I think there's actually been I know there's been numerous sightings at the Mammoth Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of I think a lot of people. And there's another one that they kept saying that um they believe that they dig, they bury, like they. Some people say like there's it's so massive. Like how can it just disappear when you see it 1 minute and it just disappears? It could be like going down the side of the portals, but then some people think that it's more along the lines of them digging, or they have like these holes that they've channeled through areas
Yeah.
too. Like, but it could
That
be
they just jump into. And,
yeah, they jump into and they kind of hide, or they kind of go around, especially through the day, when like daylight hours coming.
But they're masters of, not being seen.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure they use all of those tools. Or
Yeah.
whatever, I mean, who knows how evolved they are.
And that's another thing too. Is like to go back on what I originally asked. Is like, do you think that they're aliens and Sasquatch are connected? I wonder if this is something like, because the experience you had, the being was saying that he's trying to. I can't remember how you said it. Like trying to help
Help
you
me
evolve.
evolve.
Maybe that's the
Yeah.
same thing. They help them to understand. Like, okay, you want to be separated from these people, so we're helping you to be more stealthy and learn your ways to like get around that and help them evolve into the beings that
Right.
they are today.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I think, I kind of feel like that whoever they are, had a lot to do with why we're here and why
Yeah.
we are like we are. I mean, we're the most different, interesting life form on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Our closest relative is chimpanzees and apes, and we're so different. I think they are helping humans evolve for sure, and concerned about us, and maybe have some stake in it. Besides just like the obvious nuclear
Yeah.
threats.
Yeah. I've always felt that the other beings from other worlds have a big stake in our like evolution in some states. If it's like I feel like it's more along the lines. I don't think they gave us the knowledge straight out the gate. I feel like they pushed us in that direction,
Right.
to get us to that point. Like if we stumbled across it, maybe there was times where we didn't get to it as fast as they thought, and maybe intervened and things of that nature. But I feel like because there's so many things in this world that I was like, man, how did we learn that?
Yeah.
And
Well,
get
that makes sense on a micro level. Just speaking personally, I know they've helped me become a better human.
Mhm.
So if you look at that up like on a macro level, like a large scale, it seems like they would want that for the whole, human race as well. And if we are all interconnected energy, things we do can affect them also. Especially if it, when it comes to nuclear war, for instance. Like,
Yeah.
there's many stories of them flying over nuclear installations and shutting down their missiles one by one in Montana and other places back in the 50s when we were testing nukes. So, which kind of gives me hope, like, especially in the situation we're in now, like, maybe if, if it does get to that point, that they'll intervene.
Yeah, they'll kind of like stay our hands. Like, okay, let's not get too hasty here.
Yeah, if they can fly over and shut down nuclear missiles at a base, then they could,
Yeah,
they could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be nice to know that there's somebody, like something out there that's trying to make sure that we don't do it ourselves, because we are, I hate to say it, but we are a very destructive species.
Oh, yeah.
We choose to put up shopping malls instead of fields of food, like food for us. We enjoy entertainment more than the livelihood or the well-being of where we live. And I feel like that's another thing too, is why maybe if they do interact with like Sasquatch, it's probably because they feel that they're a better fit. Because they cherish more of the nature side of things.
They live in harmony with their environment.
They live in harmony, and they're not more clouded by that. So I feel like, and I've always said this too, because everybody keeps like, we never really state, there's multiple people, you included, that have seen and actually experienced other beings, and we're all like some people have different types of stories. Some people say it's malevolent. Some people think it says it's good. But I think it is we're saying that there's only one being, one type is visiting this planet. There could be multiples, ones that are ill intent and some that are actually trying to help us.
I think that's probably the case, because I know, just, I've come in contact with a few different ones. I can't say about my childhood because that was scary. That didn't seem, that seemed malevolent, like kidnapping a kid from his bed and, scaring him to death. But the other experiences I had as an adult, they were all, positive and with various different, the mantis, the grays, the larger grays.
Yeah, cause even the famous, like one of the famous stories that came out of Kentucky about I think it's in Stanford, at Stanford, Kentucky or something, next to, kind of close to Lexington. These three women back in I think the 80s or something, they were driving home and they lost time between these two, but then they started to go, they went to like a hypnotist, and they started to talk about their experience of where they lost, because I think they lost about an hour of time, and they said that they were on the table and they were doing these things to them, and one actually said I think they had a rash on their arm, and
she had cancer. Is that the one?
Yeah, they had radiation
burns. Yeah.
And they were like this, there's no way you could have just gotten this randomly just driving down the road. Nothing around here is radiated. You'd have to be at a nuclear power plant or something like that, or have
exactly.
Yeah, so that's something that's crazy. So I don't know what they were, these types of beings were doing to these women. So that, and I know we had another guest on the show that he said that he had the same experience. He saw these grays, they took him, but then they said that he had X-rays done, and where he felt where he said that he started to have these weird feelings where he felt like they were doing something to him. They said that there was a foreign object in his body. So now I'm saying okay, some people they're like, so are they tagging like these people now, or like now I'm
That's
trying
the way
to...
I felt when I had that in my leg.
Did you ever
Yeah.
get like any X-rays are done, like just out of the blue, just to see if they left anything behind?
No. I've had MRIs and stuff and X-rays since, and
Never.
nothing has showed up that I know of, other than like in my hands. I've had some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a missing time experience. Speaking of missing time, my bass player and I, we were on the road back in the early '80s, and we were driving the equipment truck. It was our turn, and we were like in Indiana somewhere, cornfield country, 2-lane highway, driving middle of the night. The next thing we know, we wake up on the side of the road. The truck's still running. Our seats are switched. We're in different seats, and we don't know what the hell's happened. We missed like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all. That was it.
Wow, 2 hours. Wow, you just driving down and like you lost 2 hours?
Yeah.
Wow.
Woke up on the side of the road. Truck's still running. But we're now switched in different seats, and neither one of us knows how we got there, why we were there. Didn't know anything about missing time. Just were like, well, I don't remember pulling over to take a nap. I was like, yeah, me either, and we're in the wrong seats, you know.
And did you kind of corroborate like where you were? Like, okay, we couldn't have pulled over because we're this far now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we were late getting to the next gig because of that, and it was in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing there but cornfields.
Did you see anything as you were driving that? Like, was it nighttime or morning?
It was nighttime.
It was night. You didn't see anything as you guys were driving?
No, and of course, I mean, we weren't looking for anything. You know, we were just trying to, you know, finish the show and get to the next gig.
I get you. Wow, that's crazy. I like, I'll throw this out there because I know we talked this another thing on the show, that we feel that it's the craft that's making everybody lose time, because we've stated that time is relative to gravity, and we feel like the ship that they're using is like causing like a
warping or bending gravity.
Shaping gravity to so it can fly, like to go these long distance. And
well, that's what. Go ahead.
I was just saying is that we feel that these things are. That's why you're losing time, is because now your body is not used to what this gravity is shifting to. And that's why a lot of people say you can't, like, oh, I woke up and I can't move or something. Probably, your weight is way different now compared to what it was before.
Right.
So like that, that's what we were speculating on a lot, is that's where a lot of the time loss is coming from, is because of the ship. It's like it doubles as a smoke screen for these beings to be more hidden.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of goes along with what Bob Lazar was saying about the propulsion system he was working on. He was saying, he put a really heavy bowling ball in the middle of the bed. You know how the bed will kind of sag in around it?
Yeah.
He was like, that's what they're doing with gravity.
So yeah,
the propulsion system might have something to do with that missing time, and
it is, but so that's why I was trying to get at too, is do you feel like every time that you've had these experiences with these ships, do you like, do you feel like you've lost time, or you feel any of that sort, or is that just that time with you and your bass player? Was that the only time that you feel like you lost time?
Yeah, that was the only time.
That was the only one.
Of course, the other times, like I was.
Yeah, you were taking
unknowingly using those CE5 protocols to try to elicit experience. So I was had all night to do whatever, and only one of those times do I remember actually being on a ship. Like most times it was like either leaving your body or traveling into another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think some of these things are interdimensional, like I think that's how they could travel so quickly and theoretically such far distances.
That's why we
physics has proven that there's 11 dimensions that we know of. Quantum physics,
but we can only perceive what we're in and down. We can perceive 1D and we can perceive 2D, but we're 3D and that's all we can perceive. But anything that's beyond that, we wouldn't be able to we wouldn't even really notice it because we're not of that.
Yeah,
plane.
It's here all around us all the time. Basically, is kind of what the feeling I got.
Uh-huh.
It's just a matter of being able to tap into it, being able to see it and to move through that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the idea that I got.
So, you had these recently, these sightings and stuff, over your. Is this coming from your where your residence is, where you live?
Yeah, I live on the Cumberland Plateau of the Appalachian Mountains.
Uh-huh.
And so it's Danny Blue National Forest, so it's really secluded and quiet. And every clear night they're there. Every clear night they'll come right before dark. I'll see them coming in from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get to the woods right behind my house, maybe a couple thousand feet away from me, and they'll just work that area. They'll hover about and move about, and they'll stay there for usually about an hour, and then they'll go back the way they came. And it's every clear night.
Do you think it has anything to do with that military base that you're talking about, or do you think they're just curious? Because you said that was that's kind of like a weapons hold.
Yeah,
they're more trying to keep it safe, and they don't know this craft flying over the area. Or do you feel like it's coming from that base?
I don't think it has anything to do with the military, other than they come out and observe it.
Yeah,
they have to, the weapons at that particular plant have all been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to burn them like they did everywhere else in the world, but a bunch of us got together and with some scientists and activists and found a way to neutralize them with water, so didn't have to pollute our local environment, because there was a lot of cases of cancer showing up around that base on the people that live on the outskirts of it. So those weapons are gone. I don't know what they're doing. I wish I knew. But they're there every night. And it's got to have something to do with that portal, maybe.
Yeah.
Or something to do with the caves or the mines. And it could just be this is I live basically on a Native American archaeological site. that's over 12,000 years old. Myself and the state archaeologist at University of Kentucky excavated it and rewrote the history books for Native occupation in Kentucky. They didn't know that natives lived stationary places past 10,000 years here, but we were able to prove it with carbon dating and lithics. So there was a burial ground there too that was desecrated. People, some grave robbers took the burials. So it's an interesting area just in general. So I'm not exactly sure why they're here, but they're here. I mean, if you guys could show up tomorrow night, and if it's clear, you can sit out there and watch them for an hour. Just it's become so common now. It's like, and she'll be like, I'll look out the window. She'll be like, "Are they out there tonight?" I'm like, yeah. All right. Good night. Good night.
We had a guest.
I'll look out there and I'll be like, should I film it tonight? Nah, I'll get them tomorrow.
We had a guest a while back named Amber, and or no, am I thinking of Angie? We had a guest a while back named Angie, and she and her husband were out there, and they're filming these things every night.
She's seen multiple.
Yeah, and it some of them look like jellyfish, and that's incredible. You know, she described them as the size of a small car, and you know they're sitting there messing with them with laser pointers and stuff, and these things are reacting to it and moving. You know, and
I do the same thing. Laser pointer, or I've got this huge spotlight. It's got a strobe on it. I'll mess with them sometimes. And
do they actually react to it? Will they like move around?
They do, and you know what else happened? This kind of blew my mind. I told you about how like it would look like it was like fire and stuff all around it, like energy. Well, I'm looking at it. I'm out on my deck one night with my telescope when I first got it, and I was like, "This is amazing! No one's going to believe this. I've got to film this." So I go in and I get anti-foam, and I come out to put it on the little adapter.
Yeah.
And it takes me a few minutes to get it set up. And as soon as I get it set up and press record, these fuckers, excuse me, these guys, they like zip. They flew off to the side and behind some trees. I was like, darn.
Right.
Okay. So then I was like, okay, if you guys will come back and just show me that again, where I can look through the telescope, I promise I won't video you. I just want to see it again because it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because at the same time that it's like, looks like all this golden electric energy swirling around this globe, it has a big black spot that will swirl around it. Like,
I
don't know if it's the thing rotating and it's got a black spot in it, like a portal or something, a hole. But and I was like, this is amazing. If you guys will just show me, I promise I won't video. So I'm looking, and they fly back out, and I'm looking at them, and I just can't resist. I'm like, this is just too cool. I got to film it. So as soon as I pull that phone out and turn it on, they're like, zip. Like, no, you're not seeing this.
No kidding.
So yeah, they react for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
Glenn, unfortunately, we're actually out pretty remote because we wanted to. When we talked to you, we wanted to be out here looking at the stars too.
Cool.
We're about to go dead on almost everything. So we actually are going to have to wrap it up. Unfortunately, I would love to invite you to come and talk to us again if you would. If you're down for it, that'd be great.
Yeah, man, anytime.
Yeah, and if you have any music you want to throw on an episode, man, I would love to hear it, man.
I could send you something tonight if you want.
That'd be fantastic, and we'll play it to the outro of this episode if you're okay with it.
Yeah, no problem. That'd be great.
We really appreciate you talking to us, man. I'm sorry we've never we wanted to, when we talked to you, we wanted to be out here too, you know what I mean? And the reality of everything kind of needing battery power and Now we've got a better understanding of how long our batteries will last while we're out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do appreciate you talking to us, man. I feel like we've
It's
learned
been great
a lot.
talking to you guys. I'm enjoying your podcast, and keep it up.
Awesome.
Yeah,
man, we
talk
really
anytime
appreciate
you
it.
want.
Absolutely, man. I will definitely keep in touch on our page and send whatever you want to share, man. We're definitely interested, and
yep,
it's awesome, man. It's mind blowing stuff.
All right, well, you guys have a good evening and be safe.
You too, man. Appreciate it.
All right, see you later.
See you, buddy. That was pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, it was.
I really enjoyed
he
that.
He had a lot of information. Well, a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
So, that's
kind of what I've been learning since we've been doing this show is you can't. It's like you can't summon it all up to a single experience.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime of experience is what we're getting. It's like, you know what I mean? Once somebody experiences something, I truly believe it's the red car thing. It's like something happens and then you're looking for it and then you're open to it. So it's like you don't just get an experience from a person out there. You get a piece of their life, and that's a privilege, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
that's a privilege.
For sure.
Yeah. So this is pretty cool, man. I mean,
yeah.
I really do wish Josh was here to experience this with us, but he's got stuff to do, and we're gonna have to have some more around the fire episodes, because I'm enjoying it. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, should we just let them have their day?
I guess so. Yeah.
You guys out there, we appreciate you being out there and listening and enjoying it. And Tyler told you if you got experiences, send them to us. encounters@kyxfiles.com or the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Kentucky X Files. I think. I don't know what it is.
It's KYX.
Yeah, something like that. You can find us. You can find us on there.
Yeah, you can find us. And just like we just asked Glenn there, got music, send it to us.
Absolutely.
Same email.
Send us. And send us $5,000.
No, don't send that. You don't need to. Nope.
No?
No.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's too much.
That's too much. That's
$2,000.
Nope, not even that.
That should cover everything.
Nope. You don't have to do that.
It's worth a try.
No,
what was the whole thing? Is like you keep asking for $60,000.
Yeah.
Eventually, someone's gonna be like, you know what? Here you go.
Okay.
I got this email the other day that said that I'm related to this prince in Africa. Right? And I didn't even know I had family in Africa, dude. This is mind-blowing stuff, okay? He said that as long as I send my bank info to him, he'll send me the fortune that I'm going to inherit. So we should be good. Like, we should be covered after that, because that can't be... I mean, that's got to be a huge chunk of change, right? I'm royalty, Tyler. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You guys out there, we're just gonna be living it up here soon. Once the yacht gets here. Look at the stars, man. It's amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just enjoying this, guys. Hopefully, wherever you're at right now, you're seeing these stars too. Not at work, but
Yeah. I guess at the end of this episode, you're listening to a song from our guest Glen.
Yeah.
So, you guys, take care, man.
Yeah. Take care of each other. All each other has out there.
Mwah.